thank you all for being here this morning. We want to talk a little bit about the border and the issues that are there. The administration continues to say that the open border policy is compassionate and that it is humane. And Senator Hyde-Smith, Senator Britt, and I were recently there at the border. We spent 2 days in January in the Del Rio sector, and we were working with local, state, and federal law enforcement. And while we were there on the banks of the Rio Grande, we watched about 24 migrants try to cross. In this group, you had children, you had adults, a mom, and you had a grandmother. You had a pregnant woman. And they were coming across the freezing water. They come up on the banks. We talk to them. We ask them, "Why are you here?" And they say, "Biden told us to come." So they feel like it is an open border. There are large group crossings that are commonplace. You all are seeing this on video footage that is running live there at the border, the drones that are capturing this. It is chaos, and that is allowing the cartels to distract and overwhelm the Border Patrol. While the agents are stuck in the office doing paperwork, cartel scouts order smugglers to areas where the Border Patrol is not. They're trying to sneak criminal illegal aliens and drugs and other contraband into the country undetected. During our trip, we were honored to be accompanied by a former Mexican congresswoman and also by a human trafficking survivor. We've heard how the cartels kidnap young women and girls to be exploited for sex and labor. Carla, who is truly one of the bravest women I have met and a survivor of human trafficking and sex trafficking, was raped thousands of times from the time she was 12 until she escaped when she was 16. After we got back here, I was determined to do something to protect the victims. And Senator Britt and Senator Hyde-Smith and I are introducing the Stop Taxpayer Funding of Traffickers Act. That would ensure that taxpayer funds are not forced to fund the lifestyles of offenders who are making our country more dangerous. The bill prohibits anybody charged with drug or human trafficking at our international borders or in our territorial waters from receiving federal government benefits. Currently, even after offenders are charged with federal drug and human trafficking offenses, many of them continue to live in government housing and receive other government benefits while they persist in exploiting and trafficking women and children or smuggling drugs and fentanyl into this country. The legislation will put an end to our tax dollars subsidizing traffickers. It also has the support of several law enforcement associations and law enforcement officers. Last year alone, law enforcement seized over 14,000 pounds of fentanyl at the border. That's enough to kill over 3.3 billion people. President Biden's open border policies have emboldened the cartels and caused human trafficking to grow from a $500 million a year industry in 2018 to a $13 billion a year industry. Criminal cartels are earning as much as $14 million each and every day. It is time for us to put a stop to this. And I turn it to Senator Hyde-Smith.
Thank you so much, Senator Blackman, and I really appreciate your leadership of taking us down to the border. And, you know, we had Senator Britt, who is a brand new senator, to go down. The stories these ladies tell you, you will never get out of your mind. You will never forget those stories of what's happening there. I can live to be 100, and I will never forget what their children, 12 to 16 normally is what they're after. You don't forget that. And to think that this bill is even necessary, that's pretty appalling. That we have to have a bill to say, by the way, we don't want our government money in this country going to someone who's charged with sex trafficking or human trafficking. But it is necessary. And the reason it's necessary is this president will not even go down to the border and talk to the people that we talk to. I am glad that we have come back and we are trying to address this. This could be so much easier. If this administration would look at this for what it is and truly have compassion and truly want something humane happening, we would be working on immigration policies right now instead of trying to save our money from going to people that have been charged with sex trafficking. That's what would be happening. It is just amazing, the financial gains. Nothing is going to stop these people making billions of dollars other than to go down there and close the border. It's too lucrative. As sickening and repulsive as it is so lucrative, nothing's going to stop it unless we stop it. That's our job to do that. The fentanyl crisis that comes across there that has been created because of this administration, we're living it in every small town in Mississippi and throughout the country. It is totally amazing. How much more alarming does it have to get that we would have the White House administration standing up here with us announcing the policies to improve it and announcing that we have a closed border? Thank you.
I want to start by thanking Senator Blackburn for her leadership on this issue. Senator, when I came in on January 3rd, as you well know, we were gavelled in and then gavelled out. I knew the people of Alabama did not send me up here to come straight home. They sent me up here to get to work. And you allowed me the opportunity to do that. Thank you for putting together this Codell. The two of you listening to the questions you asked and what we learned, it was invaluable. Because there is one thing for people to tell you about something. It's completely different when you see it firsthand. Listening to our courageous Border Patrol agents tell us about the struggles they have each and every day. As Senator Blackburn said, they told us we have been relegated to be paper pushers. We are inside processing these large groups of migrants that are coming instead of doing what we took an oath of office to do, and that is be out patrolling and protecting our southern border. Folks, when you look at the facts, they don't lie. When it comes to human trafficking, she said it best. In 2018, it was a $500 million industry, and today it is a $13 billion industry for drug cartels. Why in the world we would allow drug cartels to become rich off of our most vulnerable is beyond me. It's disgusting, and it must stop. When we heard the stories of these brave women who have stood up, men, women, and children, and gotten out of it, as a mama myself, I cannot imagine the pain that those families have felt, that those young women have felt, and I know that we must do more. When it comes to fentanyl trafficking, folks, under the failed policies of the Biden administration, every single state across this nation has become a border state, and Alabama is no exception to that. The first 2 months of our school year, on our campuses in high school, we used Narcan 15 times for fentanyl overdoses in the state of Alabama. Folks, that's unacceptable. If we were having something that you could visualize a little bit more, you know, it's over 300 people a day that are dying of fentanyl overdoses, people would be alarmed and they would demand answers. What we are doing up here, and thanks to Senator Blackburn's leadership, we're demanding those answers now. We're demanding that the Biden administration stand with us, that sealing and securing our border should be a bipartisan effort. We believe in keeping our communities safe and our children safe, and we will not stop until we achieve that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Well, I want to compliment these senators for putting on the table a solution to a problem that most of us didn't know we had. So this has been enlightening to me, the fact that taxpayer dollars would be given to somebody charged for crimes that we're talking about would be a good place to start. So I want to congratulate the three senators for identifying the problem, offering a solution. And my recommendation, for what it's worth, is go down to the floor, educate your colleagues, and ask unanimous consent to have a vote on your bill. And I'm dying to see who objects. So, but it's a bigger problem. That's why I'm here. I've been to the border many times. I introduced a bill yesterday to reform our asylum system. Most of the people coming are looking for the first American they can find to turn themselves into. What they're doing is claiming asylum. There's a belief throughout the world, not just Central America and South America, that if you get to America and you claim asylum, you're here to stay. Well, Trump broke that narrative by remaining in Mexico. When the Biden administration changed that policy, the floodgates have opened. You have to ask yourself, what happened between 2020 December and now? The policy changes by the Biden administration has created the narrative that if you get to America, you claim asylum, you don't leave. And you know why that narrative is there? Because it's true. We need to break that narrative. We need to make sure you can't apply for asylum in the United States and never be deported. 90% of the claims are denied. But people keep coming because most of them never leave. They never show up for their hearings. Now, about the drug problem. Why such an increase? It's just so easy to get it through the border. We had the lowest illegal crossings in December 2020 in the last 50 years. Now that we're flooded with illegal immigrants, it's so much easier for the cartels to lock down the Border Patrol, as these ladies described. Get 100 people here, you flow it in over there. So until we control the flow, and if you don't change your asylum laws, you can build a wall up to the sky, and it will not fix this. We need border walls and border infrastructure, but we also need policy changes. Start with their bill. Stop using taxpayer dollars to pay people who are in the bad business, right? Another thing that I'm going to work on with these senators and others is making Mexican drug cartels foreign terrorist organizations under U.S. law. Without them, the fentanyl wouldn't be coming. And you've had more Americans killed from fentanyl than any war we've been in recent memory. This, to me, is a national security issue as well as a border security issue. So I look forward to voting on their proposal, but 2023 should be the year where we stop talking and start doing.